faced a lot of criticism about this, and today the White House press secretary defended the plan, saying that 8 top White House scientists backed this plan back in August, predicting that boosters would be needed, of course, pending approval. But we're starting to see the ripple effect across the country. Public health departments are preparing now for a surge in demand right here in New York City. They're planning to have at least 2,000 vaccination sites ready to go, walk-in clinics and public outreach events. But again, all of that pending approval, and we should know more tomorrow. Trevor?
I'm sure a lot of people will be eager for that booster. Whit Johnson, thank you. And joining us now on set with more is Dr. Darian Sutton, an emergency room physician and an ABC News medical contributor. Dr. Sutton, we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Walk us through this new Pfizer data. What have we learned from it? What does it show about the effectiveness over time?
So basically what we're looking at, it's kind of honestly mixed studies. We're seeing that there's a waning antibody response over time, and with that, they have the prediction that that might mean that people who have gotten vaccinated early on in this pandemic might be susceptible to infection. And so the goal is to protect against that. But the discussion tomorrow when we're reviewing this argument is not on if we need a vaccine, but honestly, it's really when is the best time. And so we'll see that review tomorrow, and I'm eagerly awaiting as well, not only for myself, but for my patients.
What is happening over the course of that either 6 months or maybe we go longer, maybe we go shorter? Is it just your body's phasing out the antibodies? Is it killing them? What's happening actually in your body?
Great question. So over time, we have antibodies that have initially been produced when you get vaccinated, and the idea is that they slowly decrease over time. But to add to this important point, antibodies are not the only defense in our immune system. It's quite elaborate. There are many other different types of immune cells that help us to fight infection. And so although we see that antibodies are waning, as clinicians and scientists, we look at the reality of the situation, which is that vaccines are still proving effective. As of September 7th, the CDC has reported that of the 176 million people who have gotten vaccinated, only approximately 14,000 have sustained a breakthrough infection that has resulted in hospitalization or death. And so that shows us that the breakthrough infections that require significant intervention still continue to be rare.
Right. And these booster shots, it's the same vaccine, right, for Pfizer? It's exactly, okay, so yeah. I would assume the question isn't, do we know what this vaccine does? It's more so, is a problem giving a person too much of this vaccine? Are there worries about it?
Great question. So there's no reason to be concerned or sign that there might be a bad effect of getting an extra dose. But the question is, what is the benefit? What we know is that the Pfizer vaccine that is hopeful to be approved by Pfizer is going to be the identical vaccine that was given earlier. But Moderna has produced results that have a vaccine at half the volume has produced an appropriate antibody response. But that information has yet to be submitted to the FDA. So we'll focus on this Pfizer vaccine. Again, there's no reason to be concerned that it causes extra harm. But the question is, what is the exact benefit?
We've been kind of overwhelmingly spoiled in our access to the vaccine here compared to the rest of the world. Is there an argument to be made that it is slightly selfish of the United States to maybe roll out a third dose here before some countries don't even get access to their first dose?
That is honestly the most valid argument I think that stands. Vaccine equity is of utmost importance, as this is a global pandemic. And what we have seen in other countries is that when transmission runs wildly, it increases the risk of the development of a new variant, as we saw in India with the development of the Delta variant, and we saw recently in Colombia with the development of the Mu variant. We not only have an obligation to provide vaccines for providing safety for those who are at risk of harm, but also we have to make sure that we protect against future harm of variants that might ruin all of the hard work that we've done. I know that President Biden and the administration has promised millions of vaccines to other countries, and I hope that they continue to do that, because that's the only way we'll get through this pandemic.
So you wouldn't recommend, or not even based on your recommendation, people shouldn't feel ethically bad if this booster shot's approved and feel like, well, I shouldn't go get it because I want to save it for somewhere else. They should keep up their immunity.
I think that we can do two things at once, supplying vaccines that are needed to people within the United States, but also simultaneously providing vaccines that are needed in other countries.
Have we become so accustomed? I mean, I feel like we've had so many fast rollouts with this vaccine of approval and getting it out there, how we generated it and